Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Henry Cejudo reveals that his goal is to return and eventually beat Alexander Volkanovski. Here's what Cejudo had to say in a recent interview.
No, that's not my goal. That's what I'm gonna do. My goal is to become a 145-pound champ. My goal is to beat Alexander Volkanovski. I wanted to be the guy to defeat him. I want to be the guy to become the first 3-division champ in UFC history. Like, that was my goal. That's my plan. But apparently, I'm just not cool enough. I won Olympic gold medal. I defended both of my damn belts against 3 Hall of Famers: Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, and Dominic Cruz. But I guess it could get political, man. But whatever, dude. If I got to go back and beat the brakes off of freaking Flavor Flav and Krusty the Clown to eventually go up, and that's what I'm going to end up doing.
What do you guys think about Cejudo's comments? Do you think there's a chance he'll eventually strip Volkanovski of his featherweight title? Let us know in the comments down below. Jon Jones shows off his 1-2 in some recent Instagram footage. Here's the clip.
We working.
In a separate post to social media, Jon Jones reveals a bobcat snuck into his home recently. On Twitter, Jones wrote, "We had a crazy snowstorm in Albuquerque last night. I guess one of us forgot to close our guest house door all the way. This morning, my little 9-year-old Olivia walked out there alone to grab a pair of sneakers she had left. After completely walking into the room, she was met with an aggressive hissing sound. She jumped on a countertop and a bobcat sprung out from underneath the bed, pounds in her direction, and then decided to run the opposite way. I'm so incredibly grateful this morning. That could have turned out so many different ways. Been thanking God all morning." Islam Makhachev is unhappy with the UFC following the updated pound-for-pound rankings. Islam and his team were sure they would secure the #1 spot after a close victory over Alexander Volkanovski this past weekend, but this was not the case. In a recent interview, this is what Islam had to say. "Well, it wasn't an easy fight. First, it took more than 10 hours to fly from Australia to Dubai. Regardless of how long you fly, the road home is always good. About the rankings, never have I and still don't seek justice. Since Ankalaev, Petr Yan, and our other combatants served as examples, we constantly saw the attitude towards us. So the main thing, I went 13,000 kilometers to defeat their champion. There I had my hand raised, and with my head held up confidently, with the belt I came back home." Makhachev also took another shot at Volkanovski by posting this to Instagram. "The best drummer in the world," they said. Curtis Blaydes opens up about his pre-fight nerves during an interview with Brendan Schaub.
You get nervous?
Oh, yeah.
Are you nervous wreck?
I'm a head case.
Yeah.
The nerves are crazy. I'm the opposite. I know a lot of guys they don't put the time and energy into the camp and they're like, it's all right with them.
Agree.
But me, I put in a lot more work and effort into it than the night of the fight. I'm like, did I do enough? Did I run those sprints at one day?
Correct.
8 weeks ago, did I do them hard enough?
Yep.
It just gets in my head. But
Yeah,
then
me too.
you go out there, you touch gloves, and it goes away.
It goes away, yeah. It's just the worst part is just getting into the octagon, like the day of the fight, the worst, man.
Beneil Dariush is unsure if his planned fight with Charles Oliveira will actually happen. During a recent interview with SiriusXM, here's what Dariush had to say.
I'm not saying I doubt that the fight will happen, but you never know. The fight is so far out. I just try to stay ready. Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen.
So tell me a little bit about that, man. You're a guy who's constantly, one of the best in the world. You haven't gotten your due. You haven't gotten the title opportunity that you've wanted. And it does seem like, every time there's a chance for you to kind of move up, something happens. Is it that experience that makes you think this isn't going to happen? Or is there something about Charles Oliveira or the UFC? What do you think it is when you say, I don't know if this is going to happen? Who were you doubting?
Well, Charles and I, I had a contract for him before, and I had signed the contract, and I thought the fight was going to happen, and it didn't. He went on to fight Tony Ferguson, and then from there he went on to become champion. So there's that plays in the back of my head, and I just try to stay ready. And then it's 12 weeks. 12 weeks is a long time. And then finally, as far as moving up in the world, I thought at this point I would get a title shot. I thought the UFC would give me a title shot at this point, but I'm maybe they were just hoping, I just get so old and I get so gray, I'll just I'll just walk away or something.
Anthony Smith believes there should be no weight cap on heavyweight competitors in the UFC. I'd like to see a couple of new weight divisions. I wouldn't be so stuck on 160, 165, but if you were to do like a 165, 175, 185, 195, I'd like to see a couple of new weight divisions. But if I had to pick just one, I'd love to see no weight cap on heavyweight. I think there's a lot of them. I think that we miss out on a lot of athletic, huge, really good guys by capping at 265. Think about this. NFL linemen, there's a lot of guys that are 6'8", 6'9", and 300 pounds and move super well, and are super athletic and fast. Those guys just can't make 265. I think we cut out a pretty big chunk of guys that would be really crazy large heavyweights. During a recent Q&A, Ariel Helwani gives his take on what's next for Dustin Poirier.
There's no obvious thing. 170, they're a little big. I don't know what he's going to do. You know, it actually makes more sense if you ask me to do Beneil versus Dustin than Beneil versus Charles. But if what you're asking me is this, are you asking me, should you do Dustin versus Islam off the bat, like right now, next for Islam? I don't know. It feels a little unfair to Beneil. He's got that long winning streak. Would I be upset? No. Do I think there's a great story to be told? Yes. Is he the odd man out right now? Yes. And again, Beneil's fighting in May, but also have to remember Ramadan is coming up, and so that could affect Islam's timing. Like I don't think he fights before Ramadan, and Ramadan is March, April-ish, and then he's gonna need time after that. So tough. It's a funny world where he beats Michael Chandler at MSG. Chandler gets the big prize, the Conor fight, and the Ultimate Fighter, and Dustin's just kind of wondering, what do you got? I don't know.
What do you guys think about Ariel's comments? And who should Poirier face off against next? Let us know in the comment section. The Weighing In podcast gives their take on who should be the #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. Here's the clip.
So in that situation, he wanted to come up to 155 and get it done. The bottom line is he didn't get it done. That person, now everyone's like, oh, well, he was a smaller guy. You got to take that out of the equation.
He's not the smaller guy. He was a lightweight.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. You got to take that out of the equation, because it's like saying, it's like a fighter who took a fight on short notice and saying, oh, well, I only had a week or two to train. No. Once you took that fight, you decided that you were in good enough shape to win. Otherwise, why did you take the fight? You can't use that as an excuse. Now, I thought he fought his ass off. I think he is fantastic. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. Hands down, one of my favorite fighters to watch. Doubt. But when you go up and you challenge somebody at a heavier weight class and you come up short, you lose your spot to them. You tried. Now, if he would have stayed at the 45 and fought, you know, whether it was Josh Emmett or Yair or whoever, and got the win there, he would still be there. And I think that Islam would still be at #2. That's how it would have worked out. But when you came up and then you lost to that fighter, you've got to put all the other stuff aside. That's not how these ratings work. That's not how these rankings work. Look, you went up, you tried, you didn't get it done. Now it switches. But you're not going anywhere. He's #1, #2 now. It's still the same. You just flip-flop.
Jack Della Maddalena reveals who he thinks comes out on top in the third fight between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman, which is set to go down at UFC 286 in March. Here's what Jack had to say on the MMA Hour.
I think Leon will win, to be honest. I think when you get a young guy who knocks out the old guy for a belt and then you rematch him, I think it's a tougher ask for the older guy to come back.
Yeah.
Just from where he's at, just from where they're at in their careers. And I think, honestly, from skill-wise, I think he's got a beautiful striking. He's a very nice striker, and he showed that he has got the wrestling there, if he backs himself.
Bit of a trick
which
question.
He will.
It was a bit of a trick question, because that's your chosen few guy. I mean, you couldn't go against the captain of the ship now.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I think he's taken that.
Chael Sonnen gives his honest opinion on the Power Slap League during a recent interview with Steve-O.
Did you watch the premiere of Power Slap?
Yeah, okay. And you're right, that is a tough one. Yeah, where do you go on that? And maybe you could give me some guidance. No, I did not, but I feel as though I did. I read all about it. I saw the replays. And then surprisingly to me is apparently they have competition. There's somebody else in Vegas doing a slap league. They made it to TV about a week before Dana did. They were in a cage. I mean, I thought it was Dana's project, but it's not. And my only point is I didn't know that there was room for 2. I didn't know there was room for 3. I didn't know there was room for 1. So, let's see how they do. I want to be very open to it. I really do. I've never seen a football game or a hockey game. I know what they are, but I've never watched a full one. And I would like to have more hobbies, and maybe that slap is one of them. So I have an open mind, but I don't know how they're going to convince me there's a sport going on if you let the person hit you.
Right.
I'm open to it, but I think they're going to have a hard time. They're going to have a hard time with me.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.